was just another day in the desert, or so I thought. I was alone with the sheep, just as I'd been for years now. The wilderness had become my life, a place where my past could lie buried beneath endless sands. In Egypt, I'd once been a prince, educated in the finest courts, privileged and powerful. But here, I was only a shepherd, a man who'd made mistakes, who fled for his life. The sun was low in the sky, casting long shadows over the rocks and shrubs. The quiet was comforting and helped me forget. But then, out of nowhere, something caught my eye. Just a flicker at first, a flash of light to my left. I turned, squinting in the hazy afternoon light, and saw it. A bush alight with flame, but not burning up. I blinked, sure, I was just imagining it. I had to, right? I'd seen bushes ignite in this heat, but they always turn to ash in moments. This flame, though, it was alive, dancing over the branches without consuming a single leaf. I could feel the pull of it, something unexplainable urging me closer. As I approached, I felt a presence, something powerful, something holy. My heart pounded as I stepped forward, each beat echoing in my chest. And then, in the silence, a voice rang out. It was unlike any voice I'd ever heard. It filled the air, it filled the ground around me, and it filled me. Moses. I froze. I could barely breathe, let alone speak. But somehow I found the words. Here I am. I replied, my voice a whisper in the presence of something so mighty. Do not come any closer. The voice commanded, gentle yet firm, like a father's, but loving and immovable. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Without thinking, I obeyed, slipping my sandals off and feeling the coolness of the earth beneath my feet. My heart was racing. I knew this was not a voice. This was not just some voice. This was the voice of God. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And at that, I hid my face, trembling. How could I stand before the God of my ancestors, the God I'd heard stories about as a child? He had seen me in my failures, in my weakness, in my shame, and here he was calling my name. Then God spoke again, and his words took my breath away. He knew. He knew about the suffering of his people in Egypt. He knew about their cries, their misery, and he hadn't forgotten them. He had come to rescue them. I listened, barely able to comprehend what was happening. He was speaking to me, telling me that I would be the one to go back, to face Pharaoh, to set captives free. The thought shook me to my core. Me! I gotta return to Egypt? Me? Confront the power of Pharaoh? Every fear I buried rose up. Every reason why I couldn't do this, why I wasn't worthy. But God was patient. He met each of my fears, each of my doubts with a promise, with reassurance, with strength I'd never known. He told me his name. I am who I am. His presence was enough. His strength was enough. And somehow, even though I couldn't understand it, I knew he would be with me. The fire burned on as he spoke. And in that moment, I felt something rekindle within me too. The years in the desert, the weight of my failures, and all of it faded in the light of his calling. I didn't know how I'd do what he asked, but I knew I couldn't turn away. The God of my ancestors, the God who had never forgotten his people, had found me here in the middle of nowhere to call me back. And so as the flames died down and the presence faded, I stood there, barefooted in the sand, a shepherd no longer. I was a man with a mission, a man who had met God face to face and who would carry his message back to Egypt. And though I still felt the weight of what had lay ahead, I knew I would not walk alone. I am Moses, who encountered a burning bush that wasn't burning. but had the voice of God speaking through it.